So the question is, what's something I used to wish for that I have now? Let me see. Well, really, it's my vocal ability. If you guys don't know, I'm actually a singer, songwriter, and for years I never really been confident. I never was really confident with my vocal ability. You know, when I mean vocal ability, meaning that I was able to sing in like my false voice, but singing in my full voice was just like, that's not for you. Relax, move on. It is what it is. It wasn't until I just started recently recording, having my time with God, that I realized that I was able to sing in my full voice. I just wasn't confident in myself. When I was younger, starting to sing, which I have some videos of guy, and the singing wasn't that great. But like it was good, but it wasn't great. And you know, we're always our own worst critic. I used to be in a singing group, and they would always tell me, "Oh, Desiree, you have an angelic voice." And you know, it's just like, of course they're going to say that, you know, because we're in a singing group and they can sing too, you know. But I did notice I had an angelic voice, but it's just like I wanted so bad to sing with my full voice because I grew up hearing my mother sing with her full voice. I grew up hearing my uncle sing with his full voice. And it's just like, man, I want to be like them when I grow up. I really wanted to learn how to sing in my full voice every single time. Like I said, I got to the point where I would try. It's like I would get so scared. Like, you know how sometimes when you do something, you just get so scared that you just don't want to do it anymore. So whenever I would start trying to sing in my full voice, I would get scared before I hit the note and mess up. And I'm just like, you know what? I'll just keep at it with my, you know, what is it called? Falsetto? Ooh, ooh, baby. Anyways, but I would always sing in my false voice, and I had nothing wrong with my friends telling me that I had an angelic voice. Girl, get your words out. I didn't have a problem with my friends telling me that I had an angelic voice because I did, but it's just like I knew that I had something greater in me. I knew that soon enough I was going to be able to sing with my full voice, you know. Because I was in choir for 4 years in high school, and yes, I learned how to read music. But singing from the diaphragm is something that I just didn't know. I just for some reason I just couldn't comprehend the magnitude, of really learning how to sing from my diaphragm. And I'm not saying when I sing with my full voice that I'm singing from my diaphragm, but it's just like you can have all the training in the world, but that doesn't mean that you really grasp that. That doesn't mean that, girl, get your words, what you trying to say? It doesn't really mean that just because you're taught something that, like I said, like you fully understood how to do it. And like seeing my mother singing her full voice, just because my mother sung in her full voice didn't mean that I knew how to sing in my full voice. And if you really want to be honest, I almost really stopped singing because I got embarrassed one time, which I'm not going to explain that story. But I was so embarrassed that I literally came to my mother crying, said, I don't want to sing anymore. I don't want to sing anymore because it's just like I sounded awful. And it was in front of a lot of people. And it's just like, I know I can sing, but it's just like, because at that moment that I was embarrassed, I was trying to sing in my full voice, but I was still sick. I was getting over with being sick, but because I was embarrassed in front of a whole bunch of people, it's just like I said, Mama, I'm not singing anymore. And my mom was basically saying that you have a gift. Don't let this one moment stop you from using the gift that God has given you. Even my friend Tanisha, one time after the group disbanded, and I was just like, I don't want to do music anymore. And she knew I sung really good because she was in the group. And I was a songwriter, and she said, God has given you this talent. You're too talented to be sitting on your gift. This talk with my friend Tanisha happened before this embarrassing moment. And I'm glad for my friends that I was in a group with. I'm glad for my mother that helped me just to have confidence. But even then, I still didn't have confidence in myself. I'm 31, and I just didn't have that confidence that I was going to be able to sing in my full voice at that moment in time that I wanted to sing in my full voice. So recently my pastor, Slim P, you feel me? He was like, because we had a talk, and he was letting me, because I was saying, I don't sound like, because that was my thing. It was just, I don't sound like this. I don't sound like Beyonce. I don't sound like Adele. I don't sound like Jessie J. I don't even sound like the Walls Group, who is a staple in the Houston area. And it's just like, God, I don't sound like them. Why can't I use my full voice the way that they can use their full voice? Why can't I? And it wasn't that I couldn't. I just didn't have that confidence to do so. So he was telling me that basically it's not meant for you to sound like everybody else. God made you different. Can nobody sound like Desiree the way Desiree sounds like Desiree? You know what I'm saying? We get to this point where, because whenever we see somebody else do it, it's just like, dang, God, why can't I be as good as them? It's not meant for you to be them. God made us individually so that we can use the gift that he's given us the way he wants us to, not for everybody to sound like everybody. Because if you really want to be honest, everybody's starting to sound like Beyonce. Okay, I had to add my smack in there. Everybody's starting to sound like Adele. Everybody's starting to sound like Jessie J. I'm not saying everybody's starting to sound like the Walls Group, but still, like, everybody's starting to sound like everybody else. So why would you want to sound like everybody else when you were meant to stand out? God wants you to stand out individually. He gave you your gift individually. He wants you to stand out knowing that he got you, and you should be confident with the gift that he's given you. So I really just started, after I left Houston and came back to my grandmother's house, I was just like, you know what, Lord, even if I don't get the whole album, I want to release a single. And so while I was singing the song, there were certain notes that didn't sound great in my false voice. So I was just like, oh Lord, this is not sounding right. I don't know what to do. And so I don't know if the Lord was saying, Desiree, use your full voice. You use it. And to be honest, I was scared. Like, I was just like, Lord, you are, Lord, we didn't have this conversation already, Lord. Singing in my full voice ain't it. It's not the one. Guy, I'm the one. It wasn't the one. My vocal ability, it wasn't the one, but it's just God had the confidence in me, but I didn't have the confidence in me. So it got to the point where I just like, you know what, Lord, I'm gonna trust you. And I started singing in my full voice. And when I heard the recording, after I recorded the song, I said, wait a second, okay, God, okay, you knew what you was doing. You was on one, okay? Well, when people say you own one, they don't mean it in a good way, but I'm talking about in a good way. Like, God, you was really on something. And when I hear my voice singing in my full voice, I'm like, Lord, is this really me singing? Is this really it? And every single time I recorded and I sung in my full voice, even when I couldn't sing a certain note in my full voice, I feel like God would rearrange it in my head for me to sing it in the way that I could. And every single time I recorded, y'all, when I tell y'all, I sounded better and better and better. And there's this part in the song where I get, like, whenever I hear it, I get so choked up because I'm feeling the words, because this song is my testimony of what I've been through, which all my songs are testimony of where I've been through and where God has taken me and how God was with me within my circumstance. But it's just this one part that it wasn't even supposed to be in the song, but it is in the song, y'all. And it's like, sorry if y'all hear like dangling. I'm getting real serious and my charm bracelet is making all the noise in the world. Okay, it wants a cameo so bad. But it's just like that certain part like really grips at my heart every single time I hear it, because it wasn't I'm saying it wasn't supposed to be in there, but I believe the Lord is just like, excuse me, it don't matter what you think, okay? I wanted that thing to be in there, okay? I want that thing to be in there so people can feel it and you feel it too. And whenever I hear it, I'm just like, oh my gosh, Desiree, you the thing that you always wanted, which is to be able to sing in your full voice, you already had it. You just wasn't confident within yourself. And it took for you to be by yourself and to spend time with God and to trust that God was going to have you in this moment where you didn't have confidence in yourself. God had you this whole time. It was you holding yourself back. God gave you this ability and you wasn't using it. Now, taking the time to separate myself and spend time with God and ask God to take full control of the recording, and the vocals are better than I ever expected. So this is something to y'all. Don't think that you don't have the ability to do it. If it's something that you can't do, or you believe that you can't do, it's not that you can't do it, you just don't have the confidence. And you really need to take the time to spend time with God and have God take over that whole situation. And I promise you, boo-boo, I promise you, whatever you're working on will be better than you ever expected it to be. So y'all, I'm off my soapbox, and now I'm about to put the next question that will be for next week's video. And I hope you enjoy and have a blessed day, because this has been a blessing to me.